The day my sister-in-law slapped me across the face in front of my daughters was the day 17 years of silence ended. And I promise you, that silence had cost her a lot more than she ever knew. Welcome to Dad's Raw Revenge. Get settled, because the people in this story had every chance to do right. They just chose otherwise. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. Trust me, you're going to love it here. But let me back up, because if I start at the slap, you'll miss everything that made it matter. My name is Kyle Weber. I'm 49 years old. I live in Steiner Ranch, Northwest Austin. I own an IT compliance firm on Research Boulevard. 11 employees, 3 major corporate contracts, a reputation I built from absolute nothing over 15 years. I coach my youngest daughter's soccer team on Saturday mornings. My life is, by any honest measure, a good one. At the center of it is Alana, 43, sharp as a tack, laughs with her whole body. We've been married 17 years, and I mean married, not coexisting. Genuinely, embarrassingly in love. Then there are my girls. Alexa is 12, serious and precise, already correcting my grammar. Keisha is 9, pure chaos in pigtails, and the funniest human being I've ever met. Alana and I adopted them together after 5 years of trying everything else. Alana has a condition that made pregnancy impossible. We grieved that quietly, then made a decision. We chose our daughters on purpose. Every single day, I choose them on purpose. Hold on to that, because it matters for everything that comes next. Now, Alice Hamilton, Alana's older sister, 46, married to a guy named Ray. Ray used to be the golden boy, doing well in commercial real estate, flashy cars, acting like the smartest man in any room. 3 years ago, he got hit with a compliance issue at his firm, lost his job, and the industry quietly locked him out. He's been hustling on commissions ever since, with the anxious energy of a man who peaked years ago and is drowning trying to hide it. Alice never liked me. Not from the beginning. When I met Alana, I was 32 and broke in the specific, embarrassing way, starting a business on credit cards and stubbornness, while Alana had a steady salary and a family that had already decided I wasn't good enough for her. Alice led that committee. She never said it outright. It was in the way she looked at me across dinner tables, the polite questions that were actually weapons. So, Kyle, is the business still struggling? I made a decision back then, and held to it for 17 years. I would not fight Alice. I would not make Alana choose between peace and her husband's pride. I stepped back, stayed pleasant, stayed out of Alice's orbit. What Alice never knew, because she'd already decided I was nobody, was that the business eventually did very well, better than well. While she treated me like a charity case, I was signing contracts that would have made her eyes water. When Alice and Ray hit financial trouble, mortgage issues, Tom's private school tuition spiraling, they went to Alana, and Alana came to me. Baby, just handle it. Take it from our account. Let's keep the peace. I told her to let Alice think it was her money. It was easier than the conversation we'd otherwise have. So Alice kept believing her little sister was her financial lifeline, and that Alana's husband was just some quiet guy who tagged along. Mortgage shortfalls, tuition payments, emergencies. For years. Never me. Never Kyle. In Alice's world, I was expensive furniture. Then came the Sunday everything cracked open. A barbecue at their mother's place in Round Rock, brisket, a Bluetooth speaker, kids everywhere. I was in a good mood. I'd closed a solid contract that week. I had zero reason to expect anything but a normal Sunday. Then I saw Keisha running at me, and I knew before she reached me that something was wrong. She told me, through quiet, holding it together tears, what Tom had said in front of Alexa and their cousins. You're just charity cases. My mom said your real parents didn't want you. You don't even belong in this family. Something shifted in my chest, not just anger, something colder. 17 years of absorbed insults, now landing on my 9-year-old's face. I kissed Keisha's forehead, told her to stay with her mom, and walked over to Tom. I didn't yell. I put a calm hand on his shoulder. These girls carry my name. They belong here just like everyone else. Don't you ever say that again. That was all. I don't know what Alice saw from across that yard, but she crossed it in 3 seconds, yanked Tom away hard enough that he stumbled, then slapped me. Open palm. Hard enough I heard it before I felt it. The yard went dead silent. "Don't you dare touch my son, you pathetic loser," she said, voice shaking with fury, not fear. "You're not even a real father anyway. You just adopted them because you couldn't give my sister a real family." Alana didn't freeze. She pushed past her sister, pale with shock and rage. "Alice, what is wrong with you? In front of my children?" I pulled Alana gently behind me and looked at Alice. "I am giving you exactly 10 seconds to get out of my sight before I call the cops and have them take you off your mother's property in handcuffs." That's when Ray stepped in front of her, chest puffed out. "Whoa, whoa, Kyle. She's just a protective mother. You put your hands on our kid first. Don't be a drama queen bringing cops into a family matter." I smiled. "Since you brought it up, let's talk about what a real father does." I turned to my daughters. "Girls, get your things. Some people don't realize they've been living on borrowed grace until the grace stops, and by then, the bill is already due." We drove home in a silence that wasn't angry. It was a family that had just been hit by something and needed to breathe. I made the girls chicken fajitas because life continues. After they were in bed, Alana found me in the kitchen. "You okay?" "I'm fine." "It's not okay. She said that in front of our daughters. She said you weren't a real—" She stopped herself. I held her for a minute. Then I went to my office, opened the bank portal, and canceled every recurring transfer connected to Alice and Ray's accounts, the mortgage assistance, Tom's tuition, the emergency transfers that stopped feeling like emergencies 2 years ago. All of it, gone. I slept better than I had in months. The first week was silent on their end. I coached soccer, took Alexa to book people, smoked a brisket, didn't think about Alice once. The second week, the dominoes started falling. Alana started getting calls, her jaw tightening as Alice's tone shifted from cold to frantic. Then, on a Tuesday, Alana came home from lunch with a look I hadn't seen in years. Not sad, not angry, done. "Alice was there," she said. She cornered me. "Went on for 10 minutes about how you're punishing her whole family because your pride got bruised. She said the mortgage is late, the school sent a final tuition notice, and Ray told her it's my fault for setting them up to fail. Then she asked me why I was letting my deadbeat husband ruin their lives." "What did you say?" Something moved across my wife's face. 17 years of patience, finally, quietly letting go. I told her the truth, all of it. She needed to hear it. I'm done protecting her from it. That evening on the back porch, Alana walked me through it. When Alice finished her performance, the sighing, the guilt-tripping, Alana looked at her and said, "It was never my money, Alice. Every dollar that kept your lights on and paid Tom's tuition, that was Kyle's. He told me to let you think it was mine. He didn't want the drama. The husband you called a loser in front of his children has been quietly funding your life for years while you looked down on him." And when Alice tried to speak, Alana kept going. "We adopted because I cannot have children. My body. My limitation. Kyle let this whole family assume it was his problem for 10 years because he knew how you'd treat me if you knew the truth. He is twice the man your husband will ever be." "Was she crying?" I asked. "By the end," Alana said, taking a sip of her tea. "I didn't wait around to watch." What Alana didn't know yet was that I'd already made 2 calls that same day. The first, to my attorney, Renee. I told her what happened at the barbecue, that I had 3 sober witnesses ready to give written statements, and asked her to move forward with assault charges. She didn't hesitate. The second call was to the bank. When Ray and Alice's mortgage went through a restructuring 2 years earlier, the lender required a co-signer, me. What I now knew, and the bank didn't, was that Ray had hidden his job loss from them during that restructure, using my credit as a shield. I reported it. Bank fraud, formally, with documentation. They were defaulting the modification by Monday. Just facts, process, timeline. I hung up and finished the compliance report due Thursday. I don't let personal situations bleed into professional ones. I didn't fail at 32 when everyone was watching, and I wasn't planning to start now. 2 weeks of nothing dramatic. No scenes, no midnight texts. But underneath, every decision was moving like water. Quiet, steady, certain of where it was going. Then Ray called. "Hey, look, Alice and I were thinking maybe we should all sit down, clear the air. Nice restaurant, our treat." I almost laughed. Sure, Ray, let's sit down. He sounded relieved, which told me everything about what he thought this meeting would be. They thought they were coming to negotiate. They had no idea they were walking into a closing statement. Saturday evening, a place called Oasis on Lake Travis, terraced seating, a view built to do the emotional heavy lifting bad company can't. Alana and I got there first, like we always do. The sun was starting its slow copper descent over the lake. Alice and Ray arrived 11 minutes late, dressed like they'd rehearsed this in the car. Ray in a freshly ironed button-down, Alice clutching her purse like a shield. Ray went for the handshake, full production. "Kyle, good to see you, man." He turned to Alana. She nodded once. The temperature dropped 4 degrees. After small talk about traffic, Ray leaned in, hands folded, the picture of reasonable sincerity. "Look, man, we know things got heated. Alice shouldn't have, what happened shouldn't have happened. We apologize for that." Alice nodded on cue. "But cutting off the kids' tuition over a family argument? That's extreme. It almost feels like you set us up to look bad." I let the silence sit. Took a slow sip of water, set the glass back exactly where it had been. "Ray, you didn't invite me here to apologize. You invited me here because your mortgage is due. You're not sorry Alice assaulted me. You're sorry I'm the one holding the checkbook." Dead silence. I turned to Alice. "For the first time in 17 years, I'm not stepping back. You stood in front of 30 people, including my daughters, and told me I wasn't a real father. That I gave those girls a charity home because I couldn't give your sister a real family. You've believed for 17 years I was nobody. That I was furniture that came with your sister. I let you believe that. That's on me. I thought I was keeping the peace. What I was actually doing was financing a version of reality that was comfortable for you and invisible to me. That ends tonight." I told them the police report had been filed, that the DA's office was reviewing assault charges, that I had 3 witness statements already in hand. "This isn't a misunderstanding, Alice." Her face went the color of the tablecloth. "Kyle, I know I went too far. But criminal charges? We're family. You told my 9-year-old daughter her real parents didn't want her. Through your son. Then you hit me in front of her." Ray tried to pivot to the money. "Those are real consequences for our kid. He didn't do anything." "Tom repeated what he heard at home," I said. "Those are his consequences. And yours." I slid a folded document across the table. "That's formal notification from my attorney. You hid your job loss from the lender during the restructure, Ray. That's bank fraud. I reported it last Tuesday. My name is cleared from the liability, and the bank has revoked the modified terms, effective immediately. The acceleration notice follows separately." Ray stared at the paper, color draining from his face in real time. "You can't! We have a kid in that house!" "You have a kid in that house," I said, which is exactly the kind of thing a real father thinks about before the damage is done, not after. Alice made a sound that wasn't quite a word. "The transfers are canceled. The tuition assistance is canceled. That arrangement existed because I loved my wife enough to keep the peace at my own expense. It required a basic level of respect as its foundation. You demolished that in about 45 seconds at a backyard barbecue. Kyle, please. I'll apologize. Formally, publicly. I'll call the DA myself. Kyle, our house." I stood, buttoned my jacket. "I spent 17 years protecting your feelings. That's over now. From this point forward, I'm only protecting my own family." I picked up my phone. "Good luck with the bank, and good luck paying for dinner." I extended my hand to Alana. She took it without hesitation. Alice grabbed her arm. "Alana, please." Alana looked at her sister's hand, then at her sister. "I love you, but I'm done managing what you refuse to take responsibility for." We walked out past the birthday balloons and into the warm Austin night. In the truck, after about 2 minutes of silence, Alana said, "Good luck paying for dinner," and started laughing. The real, full-body kind I fell in love with 20 years ago in a coffee shop on 6th Street. I laughed too. For about a mile, neither of us said another word. Here's what happened after. Alice accepted a plea agreement, formal assault charge, community service, a 14-month restraining order. No trial, no public drama, just paperwork and consequences. The bank initiated foreclosure 6 weeks after that dinner. Ray found a smaller rental in Pflugerville. Tom switched to public school. About 3 months later, he sent Alexa and Keisha a handwritten note. Clumsy, sincere, Real, not performing like his father had. I kept that note. It reminded me the boy wasn't the villain, just a kid handed the wrong script, who'd finally been handed a better one. I never gloated, not once, to anyone. This was never about breaking Alice. It was about stopping her. A month later, Keisha looked up from a school project at the kitchen table and asked, out of nowhere, "Daddy, are we a real family?" I put down the glue stick. "Come here." She climbed into my lap. "We are the realest family I know. You understand me?" She thought about it with that serious little face. "Yeah, okay." Then she climbed down and went back to her poster board. 17 years of silence. 17 years of stepping back, writing checks, keeping the peace, staying in the background of a family that never bothered to look close enough to see who was actually holding everything together. In the end, it took one slap, one smile, and the quiet, unhurried decision of a man who finally stopped protecting the wrong people. My name is Kyle Weber. I'm 49 years old. I live in Steiner Ranch, Austin, Texas. And every single person in my house carries my name on purpose. That's what a real father does. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let me know where you're watching from. I'll see you on the next one.